Hey, what's going on? What's happening? What's happening?
Oh, nothing much, nothing much. What's going on with you?
Not much, man. Happy Halloween. How was your All Hallows Eve?
It was all right. Just went to one party. Nothing big.
That's
Nothing.
always what you do as an adult. When you don't have kids, I mean, you just drink. And
I always forget that Halloween is still for kids. I'm not around kids, so I don't see trick or treating activities.
this nigga, wait, hold on, pause, flag on the play, time. This nigga goes, I'm not around kids. What's your profession, sir?
I'm a teacher.
Okay,
Like
continue.
I don't go trick or treating with them. That would be odd. That would be odd if I was going trick or treating with them. Plus, I teach middle school, so they don't really treat like that.
That's true.
Like Halloween is like a little kid's holiday or an adult holiday.
Mhm.
The costumes be exactly the same, just including the same sizes. But about it, like that's
No in between.
yeah, yeah.
Halloween, another one of them things I talked about was, hey, there's two holidays where you can basically get away with murder. Halloween, wait, three. Halloween, the 4th of July, and New Year's. And wow, Alpo apparently got murdered last night. That's Cameron's character and paid in full. He got his receipt. That is crazy.
I mean, it took a while. I haven't read anything else about what's happening with the case, but it's wild. Like we talking about long, long, long after his story,
Mm-hmm.
and then the movie came out, and then it's been a while since the movie came out.
It said he
So
was floating around Harlem, and Takashi always would be like, "Alpo be in Harlem. Why can't I be out here?" And I was like, "You can't. Now this is not your argument, no more, sir."
you can't say that no more. I don't even think Takashi. Have we seen Takashi since? That was a nice little flash in the pan. Like
uh,
I,
sir,
I was glad that went away.
sir, Takashi is. You haven't been following, sir.
You gotta
This
follow it
dude
up.
is outside.
I'm not talking about him being outside. I'm talking about popularity. Like I know he's still doing stuff online. I just know that nobody's paying attention to him anymore.
Nah,
Like,
unless you're on Clubhouse, which I'm not. So yeah, it's him and Whack 100.
that's really all that mattered. I was like, dog. I was like, I couldn't believe people was paying attention to this, and now they not no more. I was like, yo, he had like one good song, maybe half a good song,
One.
and
It was one.
he turned that into a real. I mean, look, there are a lot of things that were going into that. Whether we talking about race appropriation, just straight bite, like there's a whole lot of stuff that went into that,
Yeah.
but. I can't wait till years later till we really look back and study that one and be like, yo, what happened there?
Oh, for sure. It's just, I mean, but people need to understand you got to just show respect when you're another race and you come to a black art because things can get black and ugly as ever. However, I stay Houston down to my socks. Once again, it's your friend Avery, like a very nice guy, here with In My Humble Opinion podcast. And like I said, I'm Avery, like a very nice guy, also known as Avery Zadius, which you can find me at Avery Zadius on all socials. And I have my co-host, my brother, my blood brother, the best writer on the planet this side of Mars, because I've been both sides of the Mississippi. I haven't been past Mars. But
Okay, okay.
but he is the greatest. He is just Devon, ladies and gentlemen. Devon Douglas. You can find him at Just Devon on Instagram. And no, I'm sorry, you can find him at Dr. Douglas on Instagram and Just Devon on Twitter. And you can find us both at My Humble O, which is In My Humble Opinion podcast, where the opinions aren't humbled and the words aren't jumbled. And it's another good day here at In My Humble Opinion podcast because we've come with another guest. All right. Houston is the third largest city in America. Okay. Fuck Chicago. I'm playing. I love you, Chicago. But real talk though, you know, Houston's really like a conglomerate of like small towns and cities that form the music powerhouse that we are in, right? There's Mo City. Okay, there's Acres Home. There's Katy. That's where Drake said he'll duck you off to. There's also Sugarland. That's me. Highway 6 God. Highway 6 God. That's me. Sugarland. I'm from there. You know, Travis Scott's from there too. And, you know, let's talk about one place that's special. You said what, Devon?
He's from Mo City. You know, he's from that side.
He's from that side. That's that Mo City, that side that you can't go through at night. That side of Mo City you can go through. It's basically Sugarland. But which I love Travis Scott, one of my favorites.
Huge fan.
Yes, huge fan. But let's talk about a special place though. The Leaf, Alief, that is, SWAT, Southwest Alief, Texas. Okay. Alief definitely has something in the water because the acts and artists that have come out have shaped the sound of hip hop for the better and placed it in the position that it's in, and that's the best position that it's in for a while. All right, we see people like Maxo. I don't have to say the cream. Okay, you know who I was talking about. Smush Bros, up and coming. You'll hear more. Toby Nickwinkle,
Toby Nickwinkle.
Thank you. I can't say it. All right,
from the SWAT.
He's from the AJ McQueen. All right. But one of the best on the mic, we have GodKing Preach here. All right. He's opened up for various artists like the greatest rapper of all time, Scarface. Okay. His lyrics promote higher learning and Lord have mercy, because you better recognize that he's just trying to resurrect the love of hip hop in the community. If you know what I did there. He knows what I did there. All right. The doors of the church are now open, people, for the Alief native, GodKing Preach, all right, with his latest endeavors of free verses on Indigo Saturdays, because we'll talk about it. Once again, like I said, GodKing Preach, people, GodKing Preach.
What's going on?
That's the best intro I've heard, man. That's the best intro I've ever heard from you, man. I appreciate that. What's the deal, though? I'm thankful that y'all having me right.
Look, we're happy that you were able to come on. There is something I want to know, though, particularly about Alief, because there's a lot of talent that is coming out of Alief. And I don't know what, I was born in 1980, so I graduated high school in 99. I had a lot of friends that were graduating my same year in Alief, and then they had little brothers and sisters. Like my brother's 4 years younger than I. Alief wildly changed in that 4 years between like 99 and like 03, 04. It was like I was talking to them and like, Doug, it's like my brother and sister go to a completely different school that I went to. Like everything just kind of flipped. First of all, I got two questions. Let's go out the first one. What was going on in Alief at that time to make this flip and this changeover? Describe how the city was.
Well, when I first moved to Alief, I was maybe like 8. My mom lived in Alief before we did. I didn't, part of my backstory, I didn't really stay with my mom until I was like 8. So I would visit, but I don't know, man. When I was a kid, it was like a cool little place, but I feel like it wasn't really known. And then when we would go to like the north side, like off of Homestead or like Coke Apartments or whatever, my sister would be like, "Don't tell them y'all from Alief," you know what I'm saying? And it was just just like a little community that didn't really have a lot of light on it. I would say that it being like one of those little niche communities, you had a lot of people coming from the outside, because Alief is real diverse. So it was the first time I was going to school, and it was like Ukrainian kids and Arab kids and Asian, like other Asian, ethnicities, I guess. But we were like those little kids that were from the hood that kind of like migrated to there. And I'm assuming, just growing up and being from there, and also being from all these little diverse hoods, that us just growing up and having those backgrounds kind of came into play in terms of like our maturation, and then what we were seeing, and just what came into place with all the gang banging and all that kind of stuff that came after that. For us, it's kind of weird because we're right under the people where Alief was Alief, and then it then it turned into the West, and then the SWAT, you know what I'm saying? Like, we really turned that into something, like being in the 6th and 7th grade where, you kind of like big facing or smushing people or whatever you call it. We was calling that Westing. That was like, oh, he Wested him or whatever the case is. So I guess just us being young and really just like coming into our own, we kind of were right in that that fold of between where Alief was kind of like just this little small community that people didn't know about, and then like Alief actually having a name for more than just like academics or whatever. Like my uncle K. Ram, he was like 40, I want to say like his mid-40s, and he's like one of the first gangster disciples that was in Alief. And it's like that wasn't even like, that wasn't even like a big thing. He was like one of the first three. So you got to think with it being that small, it's something that had to grow even within Alief. But then, in my little bracket, you came up and you had all of this like Southwest Cholos, and you had BDs, and then you had Chris. We didn't have a lot of Bloods, but that hood element just kind of came up in there. So I'm guessing with all the education with along with the lifestyle, that's what kind of turned Alief into more like a special community.
And y'all have this really diversity adds a lot to it, because like even the artists that we were naming, we didn't name all the artists, but I mean when you just talk about, like Maxo and Toby alone, we are talking about people that grow up in the same community, and like watching the evolution of both of them is still speaking on what is going on in that community, and honestly have a very good view of the community and how to fix it, how to work with it. They just talk about it differently. And then you see other artists coming out. You got you got like Aaron May, Rob Gillette. What I mean? There are so many different types of artists that are out there. When you were coming up, and you're watching this community grow up, but it is also a thing where it's like, I mean, except for a few older cats, it's not necessarily a lot of people yelling out Alief, or yelling out the West, or yelling out the SWAT. How did you decide you want? And like you said, you're with your sister, and you're like, "Hey, don't tell them we from Alief." You know what I mean? So it's like, how did you start establishing yourself as an artist? Like, who were you looking at, and then what was your first foray into like deciding how you wanted to be an artist?
Honestly, I never really like wanted to be like a rapper or anything. I wanted to play football. You know what I'm saying? So once I stopped playing football, my mom really made me stop playing because of my grades or whatever. Like after my ninth grade season, I really didn't have like much to do, but I always had like a love for music. And ironically, I guess a little bit after I stopped playing football, my mom had this friend named Gerald, who was a producer. He's from LA. They started dating, and he moved down, and he actually like produced on the Chronic and the Chronic 2001 and all of that. So I guess I started listening to I had always been a Jay-Z fan, but I listened to the Blueprint, and I also listened to Ghetto Fabulous, like Fab's first album, and something in me was like, I can do this. And I guess like the combination of that and this producer, coming into our home, was having this conversation, and I was like, I can do that. And he was like, do it. And I literally just started writing raps from there. He told me, go in the room and write to a beat. And I picked Jay-Z's You, Me, Him, and Her. And he said, when they start, you start, and when they stop, you stop. And I went in there and did it, and it was like one of those Dame Dash moments, I guess, where he was like, damn, it wasn't even whack. You know what I'm saying? Like Dame and Kanye. But in terms of me being an artist, I just really had an affinity for words. Like I learned how to read really early, and everything that I did was kind of like learning was geared more toward like the spoken word. So it just was like one of those things that kind of came naturally. And I would just compare myself to like these super, super dope MCs. I remember you have music choice. I would listen to music choice, just like the rap station. And I like listening to like people like Joel Santana and Cameron. I remember thinking like, damn, I'd never be as good as Joel's. Like I wanted to quit rapping because I wasn't as good as them without even understanding like I was a kid who was just learning how to write raps. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. So you were really gravitating heavily to a lot of East Coast rappers as well.
Yeah. Like my favorite rappers were at that time like Jay-Z, anybody really on Rockefeller, to be honest. Just I mean, but you got to think like at that point in time, East Coast rap was like really the theme. Like there weren't really like any West Coast MCs that were popping off, and then I mean, obviously, I was like a Scarface fan, like a like down south like Mystical fan. Like I was a fan of the people like Snoop and just all these other MCs, but like at that time, it was mainly like East Coast.
So you start rapping, and you're at a young age, but you got a lot
Mhm.
of good people in your corner, like a producer that's working on Chronic 2001. That's a huge step, and even just teaching you like rap when they start rapping, stop when they stop. He's teaching you how to
Mhm.
create bars, how to put all your stuff together and make melodies. Uh, at what point are you saying, okay, I think I can actually do this as a legitimate living?
Um, when I was 17, what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, my background's kind of unique. My mom was kind of like, well, not kind of. My mom was in the street. She was also involved in music. She was also involved in a lot of things. So what really hit me for 2 hours, like, damn, I could really do this. It was really two things. Um, One was I had, she had a friend, and he introduced me to this guy who produced for Zero, and she took, well, he came through, he heard me spit, and he was like, all right, I'm gonna put you in the studio. So I went and I did a couple of songs with him, and he was like, damn, like this dude, like he's really good. And then he was like, yo, he's the future. And at that point, I was kind of feeling myself, like, but I was like, damn, okay, like I really got something if he feel like I'm the future and he produced for Zero. And then after that, there was another situation where she was out and she met some guys, and they were supposedly connected to Chameleonaire or Chameleonaire's manager, and they brought, I guess at the time, whoever Chameleonaire's manager was. I don't know if this is like legitimate thing or nothing, but the guy comes and he's like, he comes in my room and I had this red light bulb and they put this beat CD on. I just rapped to every beat on there. And he was like, oh yeah, like he has something, you know what I'm saying? And at that point, he was like, yo, we want to do like distribution for you. At this point, I'm like, I don't even know what that is, but I'm 17. And my mom's like, well, I'm not signing nothing until he turned 18. You know what I'm saying? So that situation really put me in a mindset where I was like, damn, I could really do this.
Yeah. Now, okay, so after that, when that goes through, your mom's like, "Hey, I'm not signing anything yet," which is always for the best. You got to know what you're about to get ready to sign. It's kind of the next.
Mhm.
First of all, what year was that? Around the time.
That was 2004.
Okay, so that's '04. So
Mhm.
once you're like, all right, I see people that are looking at me that are attached, they attach to people that are actually doing it. Uh,
Mhm.
what was your first like? I mean, first off, how'd you feel about your mom saying she's not signing?
At that point, it kind of was like, okay, it'll just happen later. You know what I'm saying?
Uh,
But I really didn't understand time and how time changes things and how relationships could change. You know what I'm saying? So it was something that I kind of put in my back pocket. But I was so young, like it really didn't even it really didn't even matter to me. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? Like it was just like, oh, okay, when I turn 18, I'll be able to do whatever it is I'm gonna do.
So I mean, that doesn't phase you, but then you turn 18. So what? Once you turn 18, what were your next steps?
Shit. By the time I turned 18, like my mom had kicked me out of the house. I didn't like have no any kind of like communication with her for a while.
Mhm.
So I would like that situation, I wasn't even really thinking about it. And then oddly enough, the guys who had who came to the house or whatever, I just happened to be watching like public access TV and they was burning Chameleonaire t-shirts and shit. So I was like, that's the end of that shit. Like I just knew that it was a wrap. You know what I'm saying?
Worked out for the better. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that could have gone either way. And then it's like, so I mean, then what are your next steps? Because eventually we're gonna get to this debut album, which 2013 Higher Learning is I don't want to say it's underrated. I feel like not enough people have heard it because it is
Mhm.
really,
Well put together.
really well put together. Like
Mhm.
it showcases you in a variety of different formats, a variety of different types of songs. Like it's really like a nice slice of like you as an artist, and it's like, oh, he can do this type of song or this type of song, which is interesting hearing you and your upbringing. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Like you've been trained on this. So tell us about the getting to the creation of higher learning and then what went into it.
Um, well, I guess to pick up on to pick up on the story, like um, when I was 19, I started actually like I partnered with just one of the homies from the hood, and we started our own little label and all of that. And unfortunately, he got jammed up and he had to sit down. And so in the midst of that happening, um, I just made it up in my mind, and I was like, I wasn't gonna let nothing stop me, and I kind of just started doing it by myself. So I just had to figure out all this shit. Like, okay, how do I get CDs pressed up? Where do I get artwork? How is this working? And I did a couple mixtapes. One which is like Out for the Classics, which is like was a Jacking for Beats tape. My brother and I, we put it together, and DJ Static hosted it, and we just really took that tape and went everywhere with it. We grinded it, like, and I started understanding like gatekeeping. I started to understand like tastemakers and all of that kind of stuff. And so after we did Out for the Classes, I kind of had a name for myself, even though I had done tapes before. That was the one that was like, oh, he really, he had something. And after that, then I did. I started working on two projects at a time. I was working on. How to be a player. Like anybody that know me know, like I'm like a big film buff. So a lot of things that I did was kind of geared around films that I like.
Yeah.
But I did this how to be a player that was kind of just like on some player shit. But at the same time I was writing that, I started writing Higher Learning. And the first song that I started writing was Remy's song. And once I did that, like we completed the How to Be a Player tape. I put it out, and like we pushed it for like a week, and it got like 10,000 downloads. And I just stopped. I was like, man, if this shit got 10,000 downloads, wait till they hear Higher Learning. You know what I'm saying? So just coming up to Higher Learning, I just made the decision that I wanted to make music like like the shit that I like. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to sound like anybody. I wanted to do the style of music that I like. So if I felt like writing like a boom bap song, I wrote a boom bap song. I really like Rage Against the Machine, so I did a song that sounded like Rage Against the Machine. You know what I mean? So that was me just really pulling Higher Learning together, and that's why the project is so eclectic. But my brother, he has like an excellent ear for not only like production, but more so like just the layout, like the sequence in the projects. And Higher Learning was just like a sweet spot. Like we've done tapes and argued to the point where he was like, man, I'll give you $100 if you just use this order. You know what I'm saying? Like use this song order. And that's when we were like, obviously a lot younger. But yeah, when we did Higher Learning, we didn't have those same arguments. We knew what it was that we were capable of. And at that point, I figured out the networking and all of that kind of stuff, and we put that tape together with well, his name is Wolf Day Michaels now, but back then he was going by Rico Jones, and he's the one who produced like most of the project.
Okay, but like, so just when you by the 2013, you're already fully realized God King Preach. Like, when did you go from Express though?
Yeah, see, Express is my original name,
Mhm.
and well, it was a name that I picked for myself. I was like, I'm gonna go by Express because I liked what it meant. I looked in the dictionary. We were looking for names, and my homies was bringing me names. One of my homies, Corey, he go by Jukum Jones. He brought me Almagist, and I was like, nigga, I will never call myself no shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But the name was the meaning was cool. You know what I'm saying? But I was doing the Express thing. It was cool. I did a lot of cool shit. I opened up for, Currency, Kendrick Lamar, Joey Badass, Joel Ortiz. I did a bunch of cool shit, but by the time Higher Learning kind of had its run, I started working on these other projects. I was working on a project called In Living Color, and I had got into, we were deep in the music, especially like locally. Like Higher Learning actually ended up being like a top 13 or top 15 tape in Houston. It also got me ranked like one of the top artists in Houston, in Texas by State Cheese and all of that kind of stuff. And I got a bunch of blog coverage, but it really didn't propel me to where I felt like I wanted to go. And I kind of just had like a little shutdown where I was like, yo, I can't put out the same project. I have to like live life. I have to go out and have experiences and things. And I started working on In Living Color, and it just kind of was slow because of, my relationship with my producer, Wolf Day Michaels. It started being strained. And in that time, just me growing so much, and then I had got into a little rap beef and all that kind of stuff. I was like, you know what, man, I'm gonna take this off, and I want my music to be a lot more personal. And my grandfather, he always called me preacher. Like since I was a baby, he always called me preacher, and I was like, I want my shit to be more like geared around it's always been geared around who I am, but more geared around like me telling my story. And so then I changed my name to Preach Coltrane. But I always wanted to go by GodKing Preach. So at that point, I was like, you know what? We did Preach Coltrane, and it still wasn't. I still wasn't like in the mode where I was able to grind like I wanted to. And then I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go by GodKing Preach. And I just gravitated toward the GodKing thing because I'm like really into history, and I fuck with Egypt, a lot. And if you know anything about the pharaohs, they call themselves God Kings. So that's where the God King came in, and then Preach came from my grandfather.
And with that name change, I'm glad you brought that up because after Higher Learning, there's kind of a hiatus where you're not really putting stuff out, but I still see you on people's singles. I still you still manage to keep on releasing singles, keep on coming out, and your name is still well respected, especially amongst a lot of the rappers out here in the Houston community. And I don't know. I'm not saying God King made you more serious, but there was definitely a shift in tone. It felt like in a lot of the music. Was that intentional, or was it just kind of happened?
No, I don't want to mislead anybody to make them like. I feel like the GodKing Preach thing is very, very new. Like I feel like I haven't even earned my stripes as GodKing Preach. But like as expressed, I did a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? And me just coming from where I'm from and the way I carry myself, people always had to kind of I feel like people kind of had to acknowledge me differently because I wasn't with like all the little fuck shit. Like I was always the type of person that'd go against the grain. Like I've had people tell me in order for you to make it in music, like you're gonna have to kiss ass and like basically tell me, well, you can kiss my ass first. And it's like by this time I'm hearing this, it's like I'm already a grown ass man. Like I was raised by street niggas. Like for me, it's all about respect. I don't care who you are. You know what I'm saying? So I just carried myself like that, and I never disrespected anybody. And even when it came to rap, like unless it was like on the track, like me saying, basically like how I felt about me as an MC compared to other people, then there really wasn't any like braggadocio or anything like that. But people really just had to look at me a little different than how they looked at everybody else. And it's a combination of that, and I'm assuming just like the talent level. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But in Alief, as far as I'm concerned, like Rob Gillette been doing it longer than anybody. You know what I'm saying? And even Rob, like when I met Rob, he was talking so much shit. I was like, hey, I ain't never heard you rap, but you talk so much shit, you better be good. You know what I'm saying? And we was at an open mic and he killed it. I was like, I fuck with it. And he was like, hey, nigga, you better be good. And then like he actually took the time to actually like go and try to check my background and see like if I'm really from the hood and all that kind of shit. And people was vouching for me. So it just kind of came to one of those things where it's like, okay, he really is like this nigga that he's presenting himself to be. And just locally, I guess with me putting out music the way I put it out, people just had to respect that. And it just turned into, you know, this thing where it's like, oh, he nice. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, and shouts out to Rob, because Rob, I will say this about Rob: he is honest about what he is good at. Like he
Mhm.
ain't gonna come up and tell you he good at something. Like, but when it comes to rap, he's like, yo, I got rap. Like even as he's, you know, because he's got the fried rice business now too.
Mhm.
But he'll say like, I'm constantly working to improve. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing this. I got this, and he's always talking about making the rice better. Rap,
Mhm. Mhm.
like, hey, I got it. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all not
Yeah.
y'all not doing nothing to me. It don't matter. Like I hope y'all can rap, but if y'all can, I can. And I'm always a big fan of Rob. So
Yeah. I feel like
oh, go ahead.
Rob is like, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead.
I feel like Rob is like the litmus test when it comes to rap. Like Rob is one of those dudes where it's like he for a while, like his Twitter, like in his Twitter bio or whatever, his name was like the best rapper. And I really feel like Rob is like the best
Yeah.
pure flat out rapper. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't have any qualms about saying that, but it's like, yo, you put your time in, like you've been rapping for so long and your talent level is so high. You know what I mean? But I've always been that type of person anyway. Like when I was younger, we played with older kids. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was 6 and 7, we playing with kids who in middle school and shit. Like 8, 9 years old, drinking beer with them niggas and smoking cigarettes under the overpass and shit. You feel me? So like for me, looking at Rob, I'm like, damn, I can't help but respect him as a rapper. And then it's like it helped me, you know, step my shit up. I ain't never been like a jealous person or nothing. So it's like still sharp and still.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're still, and Rob has just dropped. I mean, Rob just dropped a great album this last year, and he's
Yeah.
working on a new one coming out now. For you, because it's like you've released a lot of singles. I mean, God Bless the Trap with Doe Man, Lily Aviana, Two Dope Boys, Theory Freestyle, Lord Have Mercy. You just released, what was that? Requiem for a Dream was in June, right?
Mhm.
So,
Hard as that.
and you know, I also like the themes of the movies and TV shows running throughout, whether we're talking about Higher Learning, Requiem for a Dream, or In Living Color. Uh, what are you working on now? Are we gearing more towards an album, or in this climate, are you like, it's let's just keep on putting out singles?
Honestly, I mean, like the album is done. Like God don't like ugly, you know. Like that's the album. I like we completed that. Um, right now, I have a EP, the Lord Have Mercy EP. My thing is I'm big on like rollouts. I'm big on like capitalization. I don't put music out just to have music out, and it's like a gift and a curse. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I got another EP that I'm working on. I'm constantly working on music, but the problem for me is like I have to win. Like I have to capitalize off of it because I've done the free projects and shit where I put music out and it was cool and we sold merch and we did shows and all of that kind of stuff, but there was nothing, you know, behind it. So for me, it's just like I'm taking this opportunity to kind of build an infrastructure and like I'm not really necessarily concerned about time, so to speak, because I'm reestablishing myself as an artist. So when I step out, I want to like make the best step with all of the knowledge and everything that I gain, as well as being to turn music into like a viable means of like income.
Mhm.
So I've just been taking my time really to make sure that when I do it, it's like, oh shit, we paying attention. And that's why I'm just like, even, you know, in front of my freestyles, I say the chosen few. I don't need everybody to fuck with me. I just need the specific people who are, who love and like what I do. And we'll build an infrastructure from there. Like I want my shit to be like a cult. You know what I mean? So I want to like, you know, how people have a cult like following. I want to build a cult like following, even if I have to do it, you know, one brick at a time.
And that's the other thing too, because it's like there are a number of, whether we're talking about Alief or just Houston in general, artists that have been doing it since 2010, 2009, the early thousands, 2013, like you, that have watched the industry move in and out in Houston, and now you're starting to
Mhm.
see different things. Like you're seeing Maxo have #1 albums. You're seeing,
Mhm.
No Man's just a Rolling Loud. K Kilo was just a Rolling Loud. Like
Mm.
you're having a lot of artists that I would say like probably 10, 15 years ago that everybody would recognize as talented, but
Mhm.
weren't necessarily getting the looks. How is it now shifting into more of that business mindset in terms of getting albums out? And how has it been putting out music, being here from Houston?
Um, well, I think, if you really put your microscope on it and you look at music, or you look at like this local music, and we'll just like even keep it like in Alief. We don't have to go outside of Alief. Everybody made their move or their ascension a different way. You know what I'm saying? Like, Maxo was really like the first A-Leaf rapper to like really hit the blogosphere and stuff. You know what I'm saying? He started traveling. That's how he got into, working with ASAP and all of that kind of stuff. And, Maxo's he's younger, right? Like Maxo's maybe like 29, 30 years old right now. So he's younger than me. And then you have Toby, who was a classmate of mine also, and Lizzo. Lizzo was a classmate of mine. Like we all went to high school, graduated the same class, and everything. When it comes to music, or when it comes to rap specifically, there is no one tried and true path to doing this shit. Like I really feel like it's all about timing and just being ready. So, I remember passing out. I was passing out CDs at a Mac Miller concert one time, and we used to get CDs like 1,000 at a time. And I'm outside and I'm passing these CDs out and shit. And Maxo come outside, and all these white kids were like, "Oh shit, it's Maxo Cream." And in my mind, I was like, "I'm doing something wrong because I'm actually out here grinding." And this like Maxo come out, and it's like Maxo not passing out CDs. You feel me? Like it's just not like that. It's like I'm doing something different. And at the time, I didn't really realize that it was because he was having PR and things like that. Like I had to learn everything musically by myself. So like I never had no real like big budget to do this shit. It was literally like let's go outside and figure that shit out. So even for people like Toby, it's like Toby built his the way he built it, but like when I was working on higher learning, me and Toby was talking, and he was like, "Yeah," he was telling me about his situation, and he played me this freestyle. I'm like, "Damn, this shit already got like 20,000 streams," and I never heard Toby rap before in my life, like ever. You know what I'm saying? And shit, even like with Lizzo, it's like shit. Lizzo came in her own way. So I guess to answer your question is really just about staying down and learning as much as you can, and really just like grinding, like really putting your time into building your own pyramid. Like that's how I look at this shit. Like I'm building a pyramid right now. Like right now I'm at the bottom, but I'm gonna just keep putting the bricks to this motherfucker, and then at the end, we gonna be in alignment.
Excellent, excellent. So, I mean, now that we're putting stuff together to get ready, can you tell us about the new album? Can you tell us anything about the new album, what we can expect?
Um, well, for God don't like this. I just wanted to pick up and give more of a feel that wasn't generated or built around a movie, or just like thematically around a movie. So I just came up with God Don't Like Ugly, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna put the soundscape together for this title, but I'm using my life. You know what I mean? So um, most of it's produced by Tony Dark. Uh,
Friend
we
of the show.
the project is pretty much like complete. It's been complete for a while. Um, on that project, I did a record with Scarface. I actually did a record with Scarface way before God Don't Like Ugly even was a thought about. You know what I mean? But I wanted a certain type of production for the record, so I got with Tony, and Tony put a beat to it, and we went in and knocked the record out, and it just it stuck. So I have that feature which I've been holding on to probably for maybe like 6 years.
Hmm.
Um, then I have other records. I have other records like obviously I have Dope Man. I have Anti-Lily on there. I have Lily Aviana. Um, I'm really trying to get Devontae on there right now. You know, we be having different uh, problems with connecting sometimes. Like we, you know, but the project it has the R&B feel. It has the real like almost like horrorcore sound when you know like the old horrorcore sound, but it's polished. It's like a full embodiment of what I wanted to say in terms of being an artist, and then just like where my life has been.
Now, what made you reach out? Tony Dark's been on the show a couple of times. We're a big fan of Tony Dark. We just like his production style. What made you reach out, or how did y'all link up, and what made you reach out and decide, hey, I want Tony Dark to produce a whole album?
Um, Honestly, I met Tony like years ago. He was working at Chic, and he was jamming his I guess it's like a mashup of Nas and I can't even think of the guy's name, but he redid Illmatic. And so I was like, okay, he's like a hip hop dude. He seemed real cool. And Tony would reach out to me every so often when he was like just getting into beat making, and you know, be like, yo, I want to work, I want to work. But at the time, I was so focused on all these other things, and just in the midst of me really trying to pull my shit together, Tony just started having bangers. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know any other way to say it. And so I, you know, kind of slowed down. The project with Mickey Woods really like showed me like, okay, Tony kind of came into his own as a producer. He wasn't really like chopping samples and trying to be like on a dealer shit. Like I really feel like he created a world for himself, and I feel like that would be a good mesh for us. So we just kind of started hanging out, and you know, eventually I was like, yo, we should do a tape. So that's really how God Don't Like Ugly came. We was just like, yo, I want to do a project with you. I just want to make sure all the business is straight. I want to make sure that we do everything properly. And then from there, we just started tackling records really. And I think maybe the first record that we probably, no, the first record that we had is the intro, which is actually called God Don't Like Ugly. And then from there, we went into, you know, just running the takedown.
Great. Now, I mean, we've talked about the album at this point, and you know, don't say it if you don't know it, but we got a time when we think the album might come out, or we still getting things prepared for a rollout.
No, I don't have a time for it right now. I'm really working toward putting Lord Have Mercy out, which is like an EP that I did with Things with Todd. I mean, Todd and I, we kind of connected and started working on some music. So I feel like in order to have like a little building, like of momentum, that I wanted to do an EP, and it was really easy to do in terms of like actually getting the beats and writing the records. Um, but I wanted to give people stuff because I wanted to like I said, really build an infrastructure for this shit. Let people know that it's music coming. Let people know where they can get merch and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm probably looking at around January for that in terms of just giving people music and things that they can kind of identify as part of the process to get into putting out God Don't Like Ugly. And it's kind of weird because the type of music that Tony and I made, it's like I'm not concerned about time or anything, just specifically because we weren't trying to do anything that would be encapsulated in right now. Like when we sat down and we started doing the tape, I was like, yo, I want this to be like my chronic album. You know what I'm saying? So with that, it just, we got the project more than 90% done. I'm happy with what we have, but I just want to tinker with it a little bit and really give it that feel to where it's undeniable in my opinion.
Oh, okay. Now, I mean, we talked about Tony. Todd has also been on this show multiple times. Probably one of the most, he's at least the funniest producer in Houston, whether intentional or unintentional. What was it like? What made you link up with Todd? Because Todd, me, Avery, and Todd got the same like musical taste. So
That's
what made you want to link up with Todd, and what was it like working with him?
Well, one of the homies, my homie Kendrick, he's like a video director and videographer. He
Black
been trying
Jesus?
to get me, huh?
Is it Black Jesus?
No, that's my brother. That's my
Okay.
brother. But my homie Kendrick, he probably like 5, 6 years ago was like, "Hey, you and Todd need to do a tape," and I was like, "Yeah, all right, I'll see." And but I never really kicked it with Todd or like spent any time with him. I just knew what he was doing with the nice guys, and I thought, it's cool. And it just turned into one of those things really where Todd and I were out, and he was like, "Yo, we should do a tape," and I was like, "Yeah, we've been talking about doing a tape for years," and we came together. We sat down, we talked about it, and we just went into. He played me. He played me a beat, and it was like it's like the intro to the tape. I'm calling it Newport. But he played me the beat, and it got this Isaac Hayes sample. He was like, "I never heard nobody really like rap on this," and I was like, "All right, bet." So I told him to send it to me, and I went, and did the shit, and I was like, "I already know this shit is fire." Like the way that I was rapping, and the way that he told me, like, I want the tape to sound like this. Um, when I finished, I was like, "Yeah, this is gonna be something." So we just kind of took that energy and moved it throughout the tape. I won't say that it was like the easiest process because um, just respectfully, it was a lot of life being lived, and it was some delays and stuff like that. But we were able to put it together, man. I like to be respectful of people, and allowing them to have what they go through their life with their ups and downs and all that kind of shit. So
Oh, absolutely.
it was easy. The music was easy, but the rest of it was kind of up in the air.
Now that I remember this, I met you at where was Todd doing the DJ?
Mongoose versus Cobra.
Yeah, so you remember that night?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were, yeah. And then I was like, snap, because I remember your brother distinctly, because I just retweeted him the other day, but I was like, yo, y'all were talking about doing a tape back then. That was well before COVID.
Yeah, no, we did the tape bit. Like I'm telling you, like when it comes to me and like doing music, it don't have to take forever. It's just about everything else. But there was a lot going on with Todd, which kind of slowed everything down. And then when it came down to us, kind of getting to the point where we were talking about rollout and all of that kind of stuff, the conversations just weren't they weren't really conducive. So we just had to figure that part out and then go from there, to be honest.
Okay. But y'all worked everything out now.
Yeah, everything is fine, man. It's it's the music business, man. So you got to do business.
Yeah. And it's difficult translating things like art into the business world because on one hand, like you said, I can create my art, but that's not going to take me the time. I'll put my time into it and get it done. But actually putting it out for consumption, for sale, that's a totally different beast.
Yeah.
Now, when we talk about the marketing and things like that of albums and just the marketing you as an artist, I mean, before we get out of here, can you let our listeners know where they can find you, where they can find your music and everything?
Well, you can search GodKing Preach, GodKing, one word, Preach. I guess the second word. On any of your streaming services, you can get me on Twitter. You can get me on Instagram at the same. It's the same thing. And I that's the reason why I really started trying to put out just freestyles to let people know like I'm rapping. You know what I mean? Like this is what I'm doing, which is part of the reason why we started doing the Indigo Saturdays thing. But just tap in with me on there, man. I'll talk back. If you want to talk shit, I've been telling people like if you think this shit trash, like get on here and be like, that's trash, bro. You need to quit rapping, or you need to save your time. You know what I'm saying? Save your money. Don't quit your day job.
The one you did yesterday was fire because like I put that on my story today. So like, nah, you be doing it though. But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man. I just try to give it my best shot and try to showcase my how much that I can do. And kind of talk my shit a little bit, man, with my freestyles.
That's good. You got to display that. You got to have that bravado, and that's what you got when you do your freestyles, and we enjoy it. We really want to thank you for coming through GodKing Preach, as you stated. You can find him everywhere on Twitter, on Instagram. Go to his DistroKid. All right, Bandcamp. Buy the music. Buy it. Buy it.
Oh
Buy
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Buy
yeah.
it.
Before we even get out of here, please, please, people, buy music. Like if you support the artist, buy the music. I know that, and look, this is coming from somebody that used to download everything. I was
Sure
there
did.
at the Napster Kazaa era. I had every piece of music
I
for
still have it.
all the time, and it's cool. I'll be honest with you. It's cool when you stealing from a millionaire. I don't care about it. You know what I'm saying? Like if you got millions, I'm not even crying about it. But we've transitioned that into all music is worth 99 cents, and there are new artists now that come out and they putting out music. If they got an album and you like it, go buy it. You know what I'm saying? Tony Dark just had an album. He had a vinyl. I bought it.
Buy it.
Rob, get an album, buy it. If there's an artist that you like that you want to see more of, even if you're gonna stream their stuff, there are artists that I buy their album and it be sitting in Bandcamp because I stream it on my other stuff. Because
Rob.
Bandcamp is a cool app, but you know it ain't the best.
I
I'm not gonna lie to you. Like they
It's not.
could get worked on, but the whole point is at least they out here doing something. Especially when they like, yo, it's like Artist Fridays or whatever that day is called, and they get to keep all the cash. Buy their stuff.
Buy their stuff. Put your money where your mouth is. You bought those Jordans, didn't you? All that Gucci you talk about, people. Buy the music. Put your money where your mouth is. Once again, this has been a great episode. GodKing Preach, in my humble opinion, podcast. My name is Avery, like a very nice guy. You can find me, Avery Zadius, on all stuff. That's Just Devon. You can find him, like I've stated, Just Devon on Instagram, and also as Dr. Douglas on Instagram. I did it twice. Dr. Douglas on Instagram, Just Devon on Twitter, and at My Humble O, in my humble opinion podcast. We really love you guys. Thank you for coming through. Humbly yours, in my humble opinion podcast. H-Town, it's too sweet. H-Town, it's too sweet. Mwah.
Nice kiss at the end. That was a nice